Hi, this is Lisa Kelly, Notre Dame author and class of 1993, and you are watching the Two Irish Brothers show. Cheers and go Irish!
How's it going, everyone? I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
And together, we are the Two Irish Brothers. Now, first off, the big change that I have to address is on the other side of me. Ben, you shaved.
Yep, I sure did. I had a little bit of a trimming mishap, so beard's gone.
This is a whole new guy. I have a new co-host. What's going on here? I am freaking out right now. Well, I've done it before too, Ben, so it's all good. I just wanted to give you a hard time about that because you do look like a different person.
I do. I really do. I've had many people. I've shaved before. I've had many people tell me that I'm like two totally different people. So.
Yeah, I shaved this off once several years ago, and it scared me what I saw
right.
when I saw myself without it, and I'm like, this is a different person. I'm growing this back. I can't be without it. But anyway, guys, first off, we hope you guys enjoyed the live stream that we did a couple weeks ago. Ben and I had a great time doing it, giving you guys a live show and allowing you to ask us questions and stuff like that. Have a great discussion. We'll definitely look to do some more in the future for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I can't wait to do it again.
Pretty nice turnout considering the fact that we're still relatively small and all that. So to those of you who showed up for it, thank you so much. And again, to anybody watching, if you like what you see out of our channel, do not be afraid to hit that subscribe button. We want to grow this channel big time, and so far I think we've been doing pretty well. But anyway, enough of the formalities. Let's get right into the topics for this episode. Now the big news that a lot of Irish fans are talking about right now is the fact that Notre Dame missed out on top running back recruit, or number 2 all-purpose back for the 2021 class, Will Shipley, who ended up committing to the Clemson Tigers. I mean, man, don't they have enough talent?
Right. Hey, they got to replace Etienne. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, that's what the good teams do, is they reload. They don't rebuild. But yeah, it really hurt to miss out on that kid. But at the same time, I can understand people being frustrated that we didn't land him. But first off, COVID-19 has been playing a big role in a lot of this, as we all know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't see why people are freaking out about this because, and I don't know how you feel about this, Ben, but this isn't exactly the first time we've lost out on a big recruit.
No, it's not. And there are so many things that I think people don't realize that go into recruiting. And some people, kids especially, they hear one thing or they see something, and although they could go to a better school or maybe not even a better school, but they pick whatever they pick, it's because of things that you don't even know about. So, I mean, like you said, it's sad that we missed out on him, but it happens, and now we can't dwell on it. So,
and that's a thing. It sucks losing out on a major recruit like that, but you can't just base the whole team off of one recruit. I mean, because we've landed a lot of other big ones as well. And as far as the running game, none of you should be freaking out because I have 2 words for you. Chris Tyree. Still have him coming in, so I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah.
But the thing is with recruiting, and particularly Notre Dame, in this day and age of college football recruiting, a lot of kids, let's just face it, they want to win now. They want to win right away. And just being realistic here, Clemson, they are the hottest team in college football right now. Alabama, a very, very close second. So kids are gonna want to go where they can win and win now. And it makes me wonder if, the recruiting tools that Notre Dame has always used, the Golden Dome, Touchdown Jesus, the stadium, Newt Rockne, the history, the tradition. I know the kids today are always going to find that important, don't get me wrong, but are they as strong of recruiting tools as they used to be?
No. I don't think so. And somebody said it really well. And although this one person, I don't agree with everything they say, they did say it right. Tradition doesn't win you games. And you're right. Tradition does not win you games. Tradition's there. So, we can have all the tradition in the world, but if we're not winning, then that's why they're not coming. I mean, and unfortunately for Notre Dame, it's been how many years since we've done anything big, like big, So
we haven't won a national championship since '88. We haven't had a Heisman since '87. We haven't won a major bowl game since the 1994 Cotton Bowl, I believe it was.
Right.
94 or 93. I think it was I'm pretty sure it was the 94 Cotton Bowl. That was the last major bowl game that we won. We played in several since then, but we haven't won one since then, which, don't think that recruits aren't going to take notice of that.
Right.
But
and we're in that generation. It's all, what can I do now? It's all me, which when it comes to schooling and it comes to life past school, I get that. You got to do what's best for you. We've seen it happen multiple times. But, like I said, if you're not winning, it's hard to attract all these young, amazing kids that are going to come in and, dominate. So, until we change that, those guys are going to be like, no, I don't know about Notre Dame. I don't know if, as opposed to, well, they're not doing that with Clemson. Well, Clemson's a really good place to go, or Alabama's a really good place to go, So,
and even if, and the thing is, at the very least, I mean, I'm not dogging us or anything like that, but with schools right now like Alabama and Clemson, if those are teams that where if they miss out on the playoffs and they just play in an NY6 bowl game that's not a part of the playoff rotation, they win it, that's a disappointing season for them. Whereas for us, I would love to just for baby steps win a major bowl game. Right. So there's a lot of differences there as it stands right now in today's the modern way of college football right now. And actually, a good friend of mine, Magnum, who's a big Georgia Bulldog fan, you've seen him before, and you've seen him on a few of my videos. He said it perfectly. College football is a what have you done for me lately kind of sport.
Yes. And
it's very true. I mean, if you're a team that hasn't, won championships in quite a while or produced Heismans, whatever, then that it's going to be a little bit of a turnoff to those top-notch recruits. And I'm not saying that that's the only factor. I mean, there could be other things like where they live and where the school's at, right, grades, you name it, all sorts of things. Right. But at the same time, though, you can't ignore the fact that despite that we've missed out on some big recruits, our program has been doing pretty well lately if you look at the numbers, if you look at the records. I mean, people are calling last year a disappointment, but when was the last time that we had 3 straight double-digit winning seasons?
Right.
It had been a while.
Yep.
So despite what people think and what they say about Brian Kelly and play calling, whatever, I mean, we're stepping in the right direction, whether people want to believe that or not.
Yeah, we are.
But despite the fact that we missed out on Will Shipley, let's talk about excuse me. Let's talk about some of the commitments that we did receive. Another big one here, a 3-star cornerback, Phillip Riley, which where is he from here? I got the article up right now. Out of the state of Florida. Let's see. Yeah, Volricro Bloomington High out of Florida. And Florida, the state of Florida, as we know, has been a pretty big hotbed for recruiting for Notre Dame.
Yes, it has. We've reached real far down into the South to get these guys, but yeah, it has.
And that's something else that I've noticed too, is a lot of guys, which I'm not saying that we haven't had players from the South before, particularly the Deep South, but which we have, but I've noticed that more and more are starting to come to us. We're starting to see guys, more guys from Texas and more guys from Georgia and even a few from Alabama head north, which, tells me that recruiting is in the right direction. It just doesn't stand out or look as sexy as it should.
Yeah.
When you compare it to, say, an Alabama or a Clemson or an LSU, take your pick.
Right.
But this Phillip Riley, I don't know too much about him, but a three-star recruit, a corner, which is a position that we need some depth on big time. From what I have seen of this kid from the tapes, very talented kid, very quick, great on coverage. And not jumping right away, jumping from position to position. But another big pickup was from the state of Rhode Island, which actually, in particular, Warwick, Rhode Island, which I'm a Live PD fan, so I'm very familiar with Warwick, Rhode Island. A lot of different characters up there from what I see on that show. But three-star recruit, Jason Onye, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Onye. So and the thing is, you can never have enough edge rushers, in my opinion.
No.
So no, these are not 5 or 4-star recruits, but people forget and honestly with the star system, I think it can be a crock of BS sometimes, because just because you get all these 3 stars doesn't mean that you can't turn them into 5 stars. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. And there are lots of guys that have been 5 stars that haven't done what they were supposed to do. I mean, so yeah, it goes both ways.
See, because the way I see it is this, and I'm sure I've mentioned this in past episodes, but the way I see it is the difference between a 3-star and a 5-star is the 5-star that's coming out of high school. The 5-star is most likely going to start as a freshman.
Right.
The 3-star and even the 4-star, yeah, the 4-star could start, but the 3-star more than likely is going to be used as a situational player and take a year to develop.
Right.
I think that sounds like a pretty fair assessment.
Yeah, 5-star is what I call college ready.
Yeah.
You're ready to compete with people in college. You're one of those guys that's a freak that just, you're that good.
You're ahead of the game.
It's a jump, I mean, and I've seen it. I've seen guys, they come in and they have to put on muscle, they have to put on weight, they have to get, so look at West Virginia's quarterback. Dude, Clint Trickett, or however you pronounce his name. Dude, he was a scrawny little sucker at Florida State, then transferred out to West Virginia. When he was starting as a senior at West Virginia, he was like 2 totally different people. It's because he matured and got bigger and stronger and stuff. I mean, some of these guys coming in, it's a jump, So, I mean, that's how it goes. And that's what you're saying with the 3, 4, and 5 stars.
Yeah, because people think like, oh, that guy's only a 3-star. Well, how good could he possibly be? How many 3-stars have we seen come in and just surprise the hell out of us? A lot. They may not start right away. It may take some time to develop, but once they hit their peak, holy cow, look out.
Well, the 3 stars are the backbone of your program.
Exactly.
You're only going to get, even in a really, really good year, you're going to only get like 4 or 5 if you're having a really good year like Alabama or Clemson with the 5 stars. And the rest of your recruiting class is less than 5 stars. So the vast majority of guys coming into your program is 3 and 4 star recruits.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of Trickett, that's another interesting thing about the world of recruiting is Notre Dame as of late, they've been able to pull in some transfers from the transfer Portal. I'm sorry, guys. I just got off work literally like a half hour ago from filming this.
No.
So I'm still kind of, trying to find my speech and, come down and get in relax mode. So bear with me here. All right. But yes, we were able to land another corner from NC State. And what was his name?
Nick Mccloud.
Nick Mccloud. That's right. That's right.
He's a playmaker. He looks good. I watched his highlight tape. He's pretty impressive. I think it just, being at NC State, and no offense to NC State, but, it's hard to showcase your talent when you're at a school that's average. I mean, especially in the conference that they're in. They're in the ACC. It's dominated right now by Clemson. It's been dominated in the past by Florida State and Miami. So, I mean, he can't show off what he's got. But now he's coming to Notre Dame, and he looked great. I can't wait to see him suit up.
Yeah, and then another one that's already been committed for quite a while now, Isaiah Pryor, the safety who was at Ohio State.
Yeah.
So these are guys that could come in and possibly be starters or fight for starting jobs.
Right.
And that never used to be a regular thing where Notre Dame would take a bunch of transfers. You'd be lucky to see maybe one a year, if any.
Got to keep up with the times, and you know what? We've seen it happen. We've seen, look at what Joe Burrow did at LSU. Transfers into LSU, takes him to a national title. I mean, if you're not willing to do shit like that, you got to keep up with it. And we've seen it throughout history in college football. We've seen it so many different times with, this team does this, and then a whole bunch of other teams start doing that, and then things change. So, you got to keep up with the times.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And, that's definitely something that I don't think people have given Brian Kelly enough credit for. It seems like a lot of people, and of course you expect this from the haters, but even some of our own fans who dislike Brian Kelly, like they blame him for this, they blame him for that, they harp on this, harp on that, and so on and so forth. They fail to see the good things like this that he has done, embracing, taking transfer players from other schools. And because let's face it, I'm kind of repeating myself, I know, but Notre Dame never used to do that a lot. They didn't really. They never really took in a lot of transfer players, which, I mean, not like today.
Right.
Like it didn't happen as much as people thought it did. But anyway, staying on that subject, now this is not official yet. He has not officially said that he's coming to Notre Dame, but I know one transfer that Notre Dame has had in its sights is that running back out of Stanford, that Trevor, how do you say his name? Spights, Speight's. We'll just say Spights.
Yeah, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah,
but
it's good because he's coming from a school that is. When I say this, they are on Notre Dame's level academically. Yes. I mean, you can't just go to Stanford. You can't just go to Notre Dame. You're lucky to be there. So he's going to be able to come in and understand, the magnitude of the situation at Notre Dame. I mean, it's not like you just get to skim through everything. I mean, Notre Dame is, and that's, I think, a part of our issue with recruiting, because it is not an easy thing going to Notre Dame and playing football.
No.
So, I mean, it for better or for worse, there are guys that go to Alabama, and yes, they have the talent, but they couldn't be at Notre Dame because of the academics.
Yeah, and we're not trying, and nobody's trying to be mean here or put down Alabama or anywhere else. But let's just be real. Academics are not the same at every place.
Right.
They're not. They aren't.
They aren't.
I'm not saying that they're not treated less.
Right.
But there's definitely different level. Each college has a different level of academics. Notre Dame has a very high standard when it comes to academics. And that's been no secret. We all know that. But don't anybody get the idea that we're calling, schools like Alabama or Wisconsin or anybody else. Don't think that we're calling them dumb.
Right.
But there is just a difference with academic requirements and expectations. That's just a fact.
Yep.
And hell, let me tell you something. When I graduated high school, I applied to Notre Dame. I knew I didn't have the requirements necessary. I just applied to say that I did. And to say that I didn't have enough is an understatement.
Right.
Because they require really high GPA, all these different activities and so on and so forth. I don't even think me being class president would have been enough.
Right.
I mean, I'd have to be running for actual office and during high school to be able to go to Notre Dame. But anyway, moving on to the next topic here. So, as we know, with COVID-19 affecting everything, and this is these next two topics they tie into each other. But I was reading an article here the other day from what was the looks like it was just MSN Sports. But it looks like Notre Dame is going to be limiting the number of people that go into the stadium this year. So it's not the attendance figures this year. They're not going to be in the 80,000 range that we're used to seeing.
Right.
So it looks like they didn't really give all the details, and at least not in this article that I read. But I don't know if they're going to try to follow the 6 feet apart rule. I don't know if they're going to how it's going to work with families or whatnot. But it looks like that they may only end up having like 30% of that stadium full. That's what this article says. So
yeah, I've heard like certain NFL teams, putting out like projections number wise and stuff, but I haven't heard anything Notre Dame wise. But yeah, so it'll be interesting. But Indiana's opening up. What is it, next Monday? I think it is. So I mean, that's a step in the right direction. And
definitely.
For that. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, what I think will happen, because this was being thrown around on the NFL front, I think everything's going to be priority. So, like, if you're a season ticket holder, you're like number one priority, and then it's families, and then it's, so I know that's being thrown around. It's not official. It's not confirmed. None of that. But I could see it being that way, because you treat who does the most for you the best, and the season ticket holders are the ones that do the most.
Yeah, because most of them are alumni.
So I mean, you got to take care of that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, and I hold out hope for Notre Dame's situation. There are other places I don't hold out a lot of hope for. This is not the right place to talk about that subject, but
it's got to be addressed, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It makes me nervous, some of these situations. I mean, we Sean and I live in Illinois, so if you pay attention to the news, you kind of see where we're coming from. But
oh yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to ask you just the straight up question. Do you think there will be a football season this year, NFL or college?
Yes.
I feel the same way. I think they will definitely do something. And honestly, myself personally, even if it's just, it would suck, it wouldn't feel right, but even if it was empty stadiums that they played in, I'd be satisfied with it, because I'd just be glad that there's football going on.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that could be, I know the NFL is talking about this case scenario, this situation, all that kind of stuff, and that'll lead into the next topic that we're chatting about with this whole Corona thing. but I won't say much more. But yeah, so do I think we'll have football? Yes. To me, there's too much money wrapped up in all of it. They're not gonna let it not happen. There'll probably be a lot of restrictions, but I see it happen.
And I feel good about it too. Like I said, but because we need something. Just in general, we need something to watch. I mean, that UFC card was a good start.
Right.
But you can definitely tell that a lot of fans, they're getting antsy. I mean, normally we'd be watching baseball right now, but at least they're going to get started in July. It sounds like.
Yeah, depending on what goes down with baseball, I think will be a big indicator of what happens with the NFL and college football and even basketball. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
And is it safe to say that the NBA and the NHL seasons are pretty much done? Because I haven't been following them for a while.
I know the NHL is pushing to wrap up their season and have a playoff. I've not heard much on the NBA front. I've heard, this city is where everybody's going to play. I've heard, all that kind of stuff with the NHL, but I haven't heard much on the NBA front. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's been a pretty lousy start to the spring so far as sports goes, but I guess we do still have cookouts, right?
Right.
But yeah, I just really hope things can start to get back to some bit of normalcy sooner rather than later. And as long as we have football in the fall, I'll be satisfied. No matter how full or how empty the stadiums are. I just want there to be games. And this leads into the next topic that I want to talk about. And I was reading an interesting article from, I believe it was Fighting Irish Wire the other day. Yes, it was Fighting Irish Wire. And, of course, you and I both know, Ben, that the NCAA and even the conferences themselves on their own, they've been talking about all these different scenarios and what to do with their teams, their student athletes and whatnot during this pandemic. And the Pac-12 in particular has discussed the idea of possibly not playing at all.
Right.
Which that would be insane in itself. But
yeah.
This article in particular that I was reading, it was entitled I guess the title's not important, but it talked about the possibility of there being no USC or no Stanford on the schedule.
Right.
And now I'll say the title, because it leads right into the topic. Notre Dame versus Hawaii and Texas A&M in 2020. One expert suggests it. And though I gotta say, if that happened with the Pac-12, if they didn't play football at all, and we put in Hawaii and Texas A&M on the schedule, that would make things look pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it would. Yeah, I've heard other things being thrown around, like, going back on the NFL front. I've heard that the NFL would like if, California keeps going the way they're going with all their, things being shut down and all that. They would like the two NFL franchises in California to not move permanently, but move out of the state, and then they wouldn't play in the state this NFL season. So, I don't think the Pac-12 would do that, but yeah, so it's being thrown around in multiple sports about like what's going to happen with that whole California situation. But it makes sense because anybody that comes from China or anything in the Asian neck of the woods in the world, the hub is California. You fly from China, Japan, South Korea to California. That's your first stop.
Oh yeah, there's a big Asian presence on the West Coast.
To go on to Ohio or to go on to New York or wherever, you're going to stop in California. So they're the epicenter of all of this. Mm-hmm. So I get the caution. I get the but yeah. So to me, it would be cool to see Hawaii and Texas A&M on the schedule. just to me, because I like seeing different teams play Notre Dame. And Notre Dame's independent, so they have that luxury of being like, we can play whoever we want, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
it kind of, because, I mean, you know, when was the last time we played Hawaii? When was the last time we played A&M?
2000.
You know?
I can tell you the last time we played Hawaii was the 2008 Hawaii Bowl.
Right. So that was
2008. So 12 years.
right. So I mean, that's cool. I mean, we play Southern Cal and Stanford every year. I get it. Well, they're rivals. You know, we have a history and all that kind of stuff. But it would be neat. It'd be neat to see Hawaii and A&M on the schedule. And if we play A&M, we have 2 SEC teams on the schedule this year.
Yes, and that would definitely be a strength to the schedule for sure.
That would help a lot, actually. No offense to Southern Cal and Stanford.
Well, just, you know, Southern Cal, I'm not saying that they're completely down, but they've had to, you know, replace some guys, and that's not always the easiest thing to do.
Big bit in the last couple of years, that's for sure.
But from reading that article from Fighting Irish Wire, and I could bring up the dates and whatnot, but it seems of those 2 opponents, the only one that seems most likely is Hawaii, because Hawaii would come to South Bend, and Texas A&M probably wouldn't work because we would likely have to go down to College Station, and if we went down to College Station, that would mean, like, I think they said playing a month, or going a month without playing in South Bend, without playing a true road game. So the only way that could basically happen is, could you talk the Aggies into playing on a neutral field somewhere? But the bottom line is, it doesn't matter. You're still away from South Bend.
Right.
For for like a month.
That'd be kind of cool. I mean, and you could play in Dallas, you could play Houston, you could play, I mean, anywhere, you know, anywhere down there. You could come up here and play in Indianapolis. You could play, I don't think Chicago would be on the board, but
no, probably not.
I mean, I don't. That's a whole. I'm trying not to think about that.
You could go down to Florida and play in the Pineapple Bowl.
Right. I knew you were gonna say it. I knew it. Yeah, I mean.
Come on, I had to. I know people are sick of me mentioning Sean. Stop with the damn Pineapple Bowl. I can't help it. When I have a thought in mind that seems like a really, yeah. But I'm dead serious though. I'm not starting the whole thing on that again. But all I'm gonna say is, when I have something on my mind that sounds like a really good idea, I run with it. Of course, I'm gonna bring it up. But yeah, you're right. I had to throw that in there just to get that one little promo in there.
Yeah, but we could find somewhere to play. I mean, it would. And this is an unprecedented year, you know, and the NCAA has been very lenient, which is awesome. You know, I was very concerned with some stuff at the very beginning of all this, and the NCAA has bent over backwards and done what they need to do. So.
Oh no! Did we lose Ben?
Crossed. No, you didn't lose me. I'm still here.
Okay, repeat the last thing that you just said, because you froze up on my end for a few seconds.
No, they've been real lenient. The NCAA has,
yeah.
So, you know, that's a good thing. And I think that if push came to shove, you know, we would get what we needed to get to make the games happen. You know, with A&M or Hawaii, if those actually pan out to be the 2 opponents, if we don't get Southern Cal and Stanford.
And I will say this: I mean, if with those two particular opponents, obviously Texas A&M looks the more sexier of the 2, and Hawaii wouldn't exactly be a high marquee matchup, but it would definitely be interesting for sure. I mean, you know, seeing the Warriors come to South Bend for the first time, because we're 3-0 all time against Hawaii, and all 3 times have been in a. Is there a stadium called Aloha Stadium?
I think so. I'm not.
Or it might have. It may have a sponsor now.
Let's look real quick.
Why not? I mean, we're near the end with our topics anyway.
Hawaii Stadium.
And while Ben's looking this up, I want to take this time to say, hope all of you guys out there are staying safe during the COVID-19, and, you know, doing what you need to do.
Yeah, it's Aloha Stadium.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it would be cool to see them, come up here, or even heck, go down there. I don't think we would, but you know, um, not having to trip, not going to Ireland now, you know, um, changes that whole thing. So we could definitely go down to Hawaii.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, the game against Navy in Ireland. I was talking to Shamrock Jerry not too long ago, and he was telling me that they're making plans over there as if that game's still going to happen. So who knows?
Yeah.
The
I don't know if they're going to have like exceptions to the rule, which that'll create a whole other firestorm. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's not like officially done, but at the same time, you expect it to be canceled.
Yes,
my point. So,
I'm under the same mentality, and obviously one thing's for sure: even if it does go on and happen, I'm not making the trip over there now, unfortunately.
Yeah,
and I would have loved to have gone back.
We planned to go to another state, and our first flight was canceled because they needed to social distance us. For people that like weren't our family. Like, you can sit next to your family member, you can't sit next to some stranger that you don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can only imagine how international flights would be right now, and all that. So everything in the political world with Trump and the UK and the EU and all that stuff, it's all up in the air and going ballistic and all that kind of stuff. So international travel.
And I will say this, though, and I'm not turning this into a political thing because we try to avoid that on this channel, but it is so funny and, well, not funny, but stupid how we can't just put the politics and crap aside and focus on the bigger problem here.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the problem just about everywhere.
It's like, forget the candidates that you don't like, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, doesn't matter. Forget about the candidates that you don't like, and just... This is not a political thing. This is a health thing.
Right. Well, and everybody's going to twist it to this will and that will, and it's this reason and that reason, and the issue is right now nobody has anything else to do. Like, I mean, we got no sports. We can't go anywhere. I mean, so what are you going to talk about? What are you going to do? Politics, because that's the only thing that's going on right now.
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people I've seen that have a severe case of cabin fever right now.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, I've noticed people that I've never once heard political opinion from at all, and all of a sudden it's like this, that, and I'm like, whoa, like,
exactly.
They don't have anything else going on.
I'll tell you one thing, man. I can't speak for you on this. I can only speak for myself. But thankfully, where I work, it was considered an essential business. So,
yeah, we work too. So
okay, so you and I are both able to stay busy and not.
I worked this whole pandemic.
Yeah, same here, and but I'm being straight up honest with everybody. If my work wasn't considered an essential business, I probably would literally have nothing going on right now. I'd probably just be, maybe going out wherever I could. And probably just staying here playing video games all day or something, watching TV.
Yeah. Well, especially our state. I mean, our state has been very, very much locked down. I mean, not trying to get into politics, but I mean that's just facts. So there's not much you can do. I mean, if you can't go anywhere and nothing's open.
The good news is next door in Iowa, they're going to be opening, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, Missouri opened up last week. I went to St. Louis for Mother's Day. And yeah, I mean, they still have restrictions. The city of St. Louis is closed. It's under quarantine, but, you can only get stuff still delivered. You can't actually walk into some buildings, but it's a lot looser than it is here right now. And you can tell because, like, when I was out and about that weekend, dude, everything was packed. I mean, you can tell, like, people were like, we're free! Like...
That cabin fever, man. That cabin fever.
So, yeah, we went to go get some food, and the restaurant we went to pick it up, like, in the drive-thru and stuff, dude, the freaking line was, like, in 2 streets down. Like, it was so long, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yeah, we're not going there now.
Oh, I can believe it.
So
I can believe it for sure. But yeah, dude. I guess one last thing to talk about here, in regards to what we were talking about before with the potential opponents, if that scenario with the Pac-12 does pan out. Regardless whether the matchup looks sexy or not, that could also open up a door to play some, different opponents that we've never played before or haven't played in a long time.
right. Well, and that's the thing that really irritates me. With people get all bent out of shape, especially in our fan base. They're like, well, look who Alabama plays at the beginning of the season. They play freaking whatever state, and it's like, okay, well, yes, but it's like it would not hurt us to play somebody small. Like, I don't understand why people are so against playing these smaller teams. I mean, are you really that concerned that we're going to lose? Are you really that concerned? Because
the only thing that I'm against, and you've heard me say this in videos long before we started our own show here, I'm fine with playing, a team like, say, Rice or a UTEP or Miami of Ohio or a Temple, whoever. Just don't go the route of playing FCS schools. And
right.
I'm not trying to trash the FCS. I'm not, because
tradition live.
Yeah.
Of us never playing them.
Yeah, because my point is, I know there's some good teams on the FCS level, and obviously there's been some FCS teams that have beaten FBS teams. But what I'm getting at is, for example, let's take a Towson or a Jacksonville State or whoever.
Right.
They have no business playing in Alabama or a Clemson or an Ohio State or whoever.
It's all about them getting money for their program. That's why Alabama plays them, and that's why they That's why they do that. Because I remember somebody put up an article like how much money's thrown around and stuff, and it's basically like you're paying for a win.
And that's yeah.
And make it possible for the rest, because I remember looking this up. People say there's like no place, for sports and college and all that kind of stuff, and it's crap because of how much money is generated for the school through it. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to play an FCS school. I agree with you on that. But let's go play Bowling Green, or let's go play, whoever that we don't normally play, A, and B, we're in an unprecedented time, so let's make it a complete season as opposed to just not having a game.
Well, on this, I mean, yeah, Bowling Green, we played them last season. This season we have Western Michigan, we have Northern Illinois coming up in a few years, so a couple of MAC schools. I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that, and I understand with the FCS teams, I get that it pours millions of dollars into their school to play that game and get their asses kicked. But I guess my point with that is the people who are fans of those teams that play all these FCS opponents. If you guys are going to be playing all those FCS teams, don't give us shit about our schedule. Don't give us shit because we play a New Mexico or a Rice or whoever and beat the crap out of them when you're beating the crap out of FCS schools by like 70 points.
Right.
And quite frankly, I'm not impressed with you destroying an FCS team, because you should destroy an FCS team when you're a major powerhouse.
Right.
So that's the bottom line out of it.
Yeah. But and the other thing with the MAC, they're close to Notre Dame. If you want to go play an Ohio school or another Indiana school or a Michigan school, it's a hop, skip, and a jump from us. There's not a lot of travel. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry, so... Yeah, it's. I can go for hours about that.
I gotta say, what's really unfortunate about that matchup with Northern Illinois in the future is that it's not in DeKalb.
Really?
It's at South Bend, which it's not unfortunate that it's in South Bend. Don't get me wrong, but what I'm saying is,
you like to go
DeKalb from where I'm at in Moline. I just get off on 280 and it's a straight shot to DeKalb.
Yeah, I've never been up there. So, I mean, I've been to your area, but I've not been there. So it would be neat to go up there.
Oh, the Quad Cities. It's you just get on 280 East, and it's like I want to say a little over an hour. So it's a very short trip.
Awesome. That's really awesome. Yeah, I mean,
DeKalb is right off the interstate.
To go up there to see a game. I would love, because I mean, I'm a big stadium guy. I love going to different stadiums. I've been to so many, and I've never been in that area, so I'd love to see that area. Unfortunately, and I got to say it since we're talking about that, East Lansing is a really beautiful place. Now the fans, on the other hand,
I understand. That's no problem.
It's not so nice, but yeah, I mean, so yeah, it would be pretty neat to play, somebody that you don't normally play, because I mean, for the most part, we play the same teams every year. I'm sorry. I mean, for a team that's independent, we play a lot of the same. We play Southern Cal, Michigan,
Stanford.
Purdue, Stanford. Now that we have that deal with the ACC, it's ACC schools, so we're playing Clemson a bunch now. We're playing Florida State. We're playing Georgia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be nice to branch out a little bit more and play whoever, whether it be Akron, whether it be, Florida Atlantic, whoever would be cool.
And it looks like, from what I'm noticing with the trend with Notre Dame's future schedules, that's what they're really trying to do, is in addition to the 5 games they play with the ACC, it looks like they're trying to get at least one SEC team, one MAC team, and then, of course, they have, the rivalries that they kept with Navy and Southern Cal and Stanford. And so that leaves a couple of slots open for, for other teams, for other potential big games like that. Because let's see, 5 plus the SEC plus the MAC, that's 7. And then 10 with Navy, Stanford, and USC. So that's 2 games. That's 2 games that they could fill with some interesting opponents.
Right.
So I like the balance.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I like the balance that Jack Swarbrick is trying to go with that.
Yeah. Well, and it gives Notre Dame's one of those schools that's like like Nebraska and Alabama and Ohio State. Clemson's starting to become that way, where we got fans everywhere. So if you play in these areas, the fans that live in Florida or North Carolina or wherever can actually make the trip there easier and see you play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's cool.
I mean, we got Wisconsin in a 2-game series. We have Ohio State coming up in the near future. Texas A&M, before the Fighting Irish Wire wrote that article, Texas A&M was already on the schedule in the not too distant future also. And
yeah,
so, but yeah, one thing I got to say too about Jack Swarbrick, since I brought him up, not just with the schedule, but I also like too with recently how he's trying to get different ideas of how to play a schedule in this time. Because I remember, I think just recently it was him who suggested the idea of all the conferences just play their conference opponents, but +1. And that +1 could be us, since we're independent.
Yeah.
So I like how he's... I know it sounds like I'm kissing his ass because he's our athletic director at Notre Dame, but he really does have some good ideas. I mean, he was a big part of forming the playoff system.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people can say what they want, but I mean, especially like in an unprecedented time like we have right now, I mean, flexibility is key for all of this, and I mean, like, hell, if that's the way they want it, if that's what they push, where you just play teams like in your conference, well then that means we can play Navy and Liberty. Liberty's an independent. Brigham Young, they're an independent. So I mean, those are teams we don't even normally play, and they're independents, quote unquote. So I mean, yeah, I just found out that Liberty was an independent the other day.
Yeah,
I had no idea that they were independent.
I did know that.
I knew Brigham Young was, and I knew the military academies for the most part are.
Army is, but Navy's in
the American Conference, I think it is.
Navy is in the American Conference.
Air Force has been in the Mountain West for a while now, but
and Army's an independent, but I know for the longest time, I think They were in a conference. I forget which one. I think it might have been the Conference USA that Army used to be a part of.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, and then I'll have to research. You know what? Screw it. We got a few minutes before we wrap this up. You can just look it up.
But yeah, so I mean, the flexibility that Swarbrick's showing is good because people are like, oh, we're not going to have football. We're not going to have football. If you're flexible, you're going to have football. If you're not flexible, we're not going to have football. So, I would rather him be throwing those ideas around and
Yeah, actually, I was right. Army was in Conference USA for 7 seasons from 98 to 2004. Other than that, they've been independent for a majority of their existence. Yeah, and then here's the whole current independent lineup right now. You have us, Uconn, which I thought Uconn was a part of the American Conference.
they must have just gotten out.
I guess so, unless I'm misreading this. Us, Uconn, UMass, New Mexico State, Liberty, and Brigham Young.
Yeah.
And UMass, I thought they were in a conference too, so they must have just gotten out as well.
Yeah. So that's how many teams is that? 6?
7.
Seven.
Army, Brigham
That's
Young.
like half, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say Army, Brigham Young, Liberty, New Mexico State, us, Uconn, and UMass.
Yeah, it's 7. Yeah.
So, but still, though, with the exception of us and, us and Brigham Young, I hate saying this, but nobody on that independent lineup looks too sexy.
Right.
Us and Brigham.
At least you have some easy wins, supposedly at least.
Come on, I like for us to earn it, man.
Yeah, no, I know. Looking on the bright side.
Yeah, no kidding.
Not like, oh, well, they might kick our ass today.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm really going to worry about Liberty kicking our ass.
Right. The Appalachian State moment like Michigan's.
Yeah.
Oh, I had to put it in there.
I mean, on that list, well, actually, I shouldn't dog them too much because UConn did beat us, unfortunately, back in 2008. Yeah. That still pisses me off. So I'd like a little payback.
So we're talking basketball, though, right? We're talking basketball? No, I'm kidding.
Unfortunately, I wish we were. I wish it was just basketball, but no, they beat us in football, which. Again, that was during the tail end of the Weiss era, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah. You want to hear something crazy?
Yeah, let's hear it.
The highest paid public employee in the state of Connecticut is UConn's women's basketball coach.
Wow. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when you have a winning streak like they did. I mean, yeah. And Uconn is such a small state, so right. Uconn, Connecticut.
Yeah.
Uconn is the college.
Yeah, I remember reading that and I was like, holy crap. But then again, it makes sense.
I mean, what else really stands out in that state aside from women and men's basketball?
Nothing. No, absolutely nothing.
Well, so there you go. All right, well, Ben.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with this season and what we're gonna do and all that. So.
Yeah, I hope so, man. But yeah, dude, I think we've covered everything we had jotted down for this episode, and I hope you guys have made it to the end. And speaking of that, you can say whatever you want about Michigan State, Ben, because the guys from that website, I seriously doubt they're going to want to watch me for closing in on 54 minutes.
Yeah, you never know, though. There's some wackadoodles out there. But yeah, no, I like visiting stadiums, as I've said in the past multiple times, and East Lansing is a very beautiful place. I really do enjoy it, or did enjoy it, I should say. But yeah, that's why I would love to go up north and see Northern Illinois. But anyway,
well, actually, Northern is pretty much right. Well, no, they're not middle of the state, but they're more north central.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, like, I went to Western Kentucky University, and let me tell you, they are not Western. They are Southern. Okay, it should be called Southwestern University because when you're as far south as you can be before you've exited Kentucky, you're south, my friend.
Yeah.
So
How they come up with their names, I don't know. Maybe it's just a geographical region with other schools. Who knows?
yeah, I have no idea.
But yeah, anyway, Ben, I think this is a good place to call the episode. Just to let everybody watching know, we still do have some awesome things coming up, and I know we've been saying that for the last several episodes now. But it's just been a matter of time with actually setting these awesome things up.
Yeah.
So
Well, COVID has derailed. Well, not derailed, but delayed a lot of the stuff that we want to do and the guests that we want to have on our show. So they're being flexible, and we're trying to be as flexible as we can with them, and we get it. We're all trying to stay safe and social distance and all that. So
and also
it is what it is.
And also another thing too is you don't want to, we don't want to pester them too much either because we know they have stuff going on in their lives and they're busy just like we are too.
And we're just two schmucks that do a web show. I mean, come
Yeah.
on. So, I mean, it's not like we pay people to come on to our show. It's all voluntary. So
No. But the bottom line is, guys, just, like I said, we have some awesome things coming up. We just got to, work with the situation as it is right now. And like Ben said, when you have a pandemic going on, it makes things tougher. You got to work around. Everybody has a schedule, and you got to make sure your schedules line up with one another. Absolutely. But just be on the lookout for it, and you guys will definitely like it. I mean, if you guys liked the Lisa Kelly interview, then you'll love the other guests that we have coming up as well. So on that note, Ben, do you have anything else to add?
I got nothing.
All right, neither do I. So on that note, everyone, I am Indy Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
We are, as always, we are the two Irish brothers. We are out. God bless you. Go Irish. And again, everybody stay safe during COVID-19.